Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? So today we're actually starting something a little new. Like I've said before in some other videos, we wanted to start doing some other content, so this is where we're starting. We're starting off with a little Kickstarter list. I'm going to give you my top 5 for the month, or at least the ones that are active right now. And we're actually going to have some community involvement. You guys are going to get to vote on what we get. So once we do the top 5, we go over it, talk about it very simply in the comments down below. You're just going to type out which one you want, which one you think is the coolest or the best looking or the most fun or blah, 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 all the different things. After probably like a couple days or so, depending on how long some of them are still going to be active, I'm going to go ahead and check back, do some tallying, see what the highest one is, and then get that game. And then whenever it comes in, the game you guys chose, we're going to play it, review it, whatever the case may be. Now, that's the premise of today's video, and let me take you on in. Now hold up. Before you go in, you do have to hit the sub button. It's a rule. I'm sorry. Okay? It's not my fault. It's required, okay? If you want to go to the next part, you gotta hit the sub button down below. That's just how it is. And that's not my fault. You're gonna have to talk to the higher ups for that one. So here we are in my saved project list. As you can see, we got some games to go through. Now I know what you're thinking, and if one of you comments this, I'm not actually going to be mad about it. I'm just going to pretend to be mad about it for the camera. But I have more than 5 games because for our first one, I wanted to do something special. So we're going to have 2. So out of these 7, we're going to choose the top 2 games for this time specifically. Once we start doing these regularly and monthly, we will only do 1. But for this one, there's 7 choices. Pick your favorite 2, put them down in the comments. And at the end of the video, we'll kind of re-go over the rules. But let's get into all 7 of these and start talking about them. So we're going to start off here with Household. Now, just so you know, these aren't in an order that is like my choice of what I think is best or not. This is actually just the order of how soon they are to be to come off of Kickstarter. So for Household, this is a tabletop RPG in a Dungeons and Dragons kind of realm, right? Where it's a role-playing game, you pick your character, that kind of thing. The whole premise of this game is that it is all involved in a singular house. The whole world of this game is a house. You can kind of think of it as like each country and like the country that these factions own are all different parts of the house. Here we can kind of see a little bit here. So these are the different levels of the house that we would be playing on. And that's really the premise. It's this tiny little world with a bunch of small people. We would have, DM, have people running their characters, and that would be that. So hey, this seems interesting. Slap it on your list. Now the second one we got here out of the 7 is called The Flood. As you can see, it's a Noah's Ark kind of vibe. That's the story they were going through, and it gives you a cute little description here. Eurogame, dice roll, trade, engine building. It's quite a large game, quite an intensive game. From what I have seen, the closest thing I can compare and look at is Terraforming Mars. That'll probably offend some people. It is what it is, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. It's not really like a 4X game or anything like that, but it's just a longer one. Build your engine, start taking over your different spots, and the final goal being you build your arc, and whoever has the most victory points at the end wins. It's that style of game, so if this one interests you, slap it on that comment. Alright, so next one we got up here is Breach. Now, this game, I'm gonna be honest, might be the prettiest looking one out of all of them. I mean, just look at these pieces and these colors. I just love the style of it. But nonetheless, getting into the gameplay of it, it's kind of weird. I couldn't find a great description or a great kind of genre that they fit it into. The way they describe it is you're these breachers, so to speak, trying to break into this cyber thing to get info, and whoever has the most info at the end of the game wins. So your info is your victory points, and these things, these blue evil robots are, kind of like the firewall. They're the things that are going to try to stop you and slow you down. But the crux of the game seems to be really a lot on these kind of modular boards that are your player boards, which are these guys right here. You can interchange different cards in them, upgrades, things like that. But if this is one you want to see us play, let us know. Now, here's one that I found that is almost at $1 million, so good for them. If the other ones were too, I didn't really check that out, but it is what it is. Now, this is Batman Gotham City Chronicles. This is kind of 2 games in one. So if you are going to vote for this one because you want to see it, be sure to clarify to me which one you're wanting, because I'm not going to do both in the same one, but there's 2 different things. So the first kind of portion of it, which is really the new thing they're putting out, is this right here. This is another tabletop RPG, another create your character, live the world, live in the story, that kind of situation. They have their core book, their stuff like that. So if you want to see that side of things in the RPG Batman, be sure to type Batman RPG. Specify. Give me some clarification. Now the other side that they have, and then here's all this goodness. The other side that they have is just the regular core game of Batman Gotham City Chronicles. Now, this is actually a bit of a re-release. They had this on Kickstarter a while back, but this game has tons of minis, looks really cool. The premise, it seems to be, is it's a scenario-based game. It's not like a campaign where you go through a story, but rather you set up the scenario, one person plays the bad guys, I believe up to 3, depending on the scenario, can play the good guys, and you go at it. And, if you complete the scenario, good guys win. If not, bad guys win. So this one seems like a pretty cool figurine game. If this is the one that more kind of tickles your fancy and something you want to see, then go ahead and type in there just Batman or Batman Gotham City Chronicles, but leave out the RPG specifically so I know that's the one you're wanting to see. Alright, now getting towards the back half here, we got Arcs. Now, this one, if you recognize the art style, you might recognize it from Root, which is a very popular game that I believe actually just recently had an expansion drop for it. Don't quote me on that. If I'm wrong, go fight someone else about it. But this one looks really cool. It's a bit of a 4X game, but I'm going to call it a mini 4X. That might upset some people, but it doesn't seem like it's full 4X fledged. A bit of an area control, that style game. Now, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, the crux of this game is the campaign. Apparently this game has a campaign-style system to it where you'll set up the board in certain ways, do different things, and you'll go through, which is this guy right here, the Blighted Reach campaign expansion. Apparently this is the juice. This is where the best part of the game is, according to both the developers and people that have already kind of gotten their hands on it a little bit. So, something to think about. Bit of a campaign-ish game, 4X, little area control. If that suits you, let us know. Now, coming in at our second to last one here, we got 44 BCE. This one's a bit of a confliction game. I mean, it says shifting all on one strategy. I don't know, whatever. I don't care about the description. Basically, Julius Caesar has just gotten assassinated, and kind of the premise of the game is that you are all fighting for power. So as you can see here, each person has their little, hidden sector, and you're all trying to fight to take control and be the overarching victor. Now, I don't know if you win by staying in control or victory points or the exact win con, but that's kind of the premise of the game. Is you trying to fight for control, that kind of thing. Seems very, argumentative, kind of, I should do this, I should do that, blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. It kind of gives you a good idea of what's in the box. What's in the box? If you know the reference, you know the reference. Anyway. But no, that's the general idea of this game. When I first looked at this, I was actually a little bland, I thought, and I wasn't going to put it on the list. But after looking into it a little more, it seems like everyone really likes it, and I understand what it's about a little more now. So if that one sounds good to you, put it on that list. Now, last but not least, we got Crossroads Inn, the Innkeeper's Creed. Now, as you can see, this one's Euro-style engine building fantasy strategy game. Build a engine, blah, 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 blah. Basically, long story short, you get to play as the Innkeeper. It is a engine building game in the sense that your inn is your engine, probably giving you money, giving you popularity, things of that nature. I thought this one was cool. I wanted some extra games for this one since we were going to be going ahead and voting to get 2 of them. So this was kind of the last one that I found that looked interesting. I like the idea of you building up your inn and you just being the innkeeper. I think that's a cool kind of story element that doesn't always get used, is like actually becoming the innkeeper. So could be neat, could be interesting. If Euro engine building is something you'd be interested in seeing, hit it up. Alright, so those are the 7 games. I guess technically 8 if you count Batman as 2, but the 7 games that you guys are going to get to pick from for us to get and test out for you, tell you how they are, give you the lowdown. Again, it's healthy to remember and don't forget that some of these games are going to take a while. There's some of these games that we might order them now and it's going to be 8 months before we even see them. So understand there's going to be a bit of wait time between them. The last thing I want to put out there for this is obviously some of these games offer different versions, right? Whether you're just buying the base, whether you're buying the base with expansions, whether you're buying the base version with expansions with special miniatures, whether you're buying XYZ, right? 20 million editions you can add. What I'm going to say to that is if there is a specific game with a very specific version that you want to see, specify that version. If you don't really care what version, then that's fine, just say the game. Now, just because you say the certain version doesn't mean that version's gonna win, okay? Some of these games, I would be more than willing to be like, hey, I'll push forward the extra cash, I'll get that expansion that you guys want to see. Some of these games, not so much. For some of the longer ones, like, honestly, I'll use Batman Gotham City Chronicles as an example. I'm probably not going to get the expansions for the board game version of that, because there's so much content. There's like, I believe, over 30 different scenarios for us to go through. We will not get through all 30 scenarios of that Batman game. So there's really no need for me to get those expansions. So that's just one example I'm using. Some of them I might, some of them I might not. It's really just going to depend on a case-to-case basis. But besides that, don't forget, comment what you're going to want to see, comment what you want us to get, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.